we're already down to half the number of available companies, and then the prices might be higher because we've already cut out the lowest bids in the establishment of the criteria.
It is difficult, and in fact 10 is too many. There probably aren't more than 3 or 4.
Is one of the criteria when choosing these companies the treatment of employees?
We always want a company that is well-run, well-managed. If a company is in the midst of litigation or has major labor strife or something like that, we would certainly take note of it when we were awarding a bid. We wouldn't want to bring those kinds of problems onto the campus.
This actually leads directly into the next topic, so I would propose that we move on to the next topic.
Sure.
All in favor?
This means yes? I have 2 hands? With both hands? There's a sheet of hand gestures. Okay. All right.
According to 2 publications, the Columbus Dispatch and the Lantern, published in April 15, 2010, there were actually 9 boycotts against Sodexo and national campaigns against Sodexo for unfair labor practices and low wages.
Yes, there were. There was a union that was going after Sodexo very aggressively, and the dispute that that union had with Sodexo actually was recently settled, and they have shaken hands and gone away happy.
But the question is, why are we dealing with a company that is notorious for mistreating their workers and being non-union?
I don't know that they are notorious for that, and I don't know that that labor dispute existed at the time that we entered into the contract. In fact, it did not. Vice President Pennington is saying, I think had they been in the midst of a major labor dispute, we would not have brought them onto the campus. But that happened afterwards.
Worker grievances.
And your name is?
Ms. Schiffer? Ms. Schiffer.
And you're a student where?
Yeah. I'm a senior anthropology education. I've gotten to know people who work for Sodexo in various capacities, and I hear grievances that are, if they're addressed, it's not a permanent situation. They're very strict with some, like, the policies. There's a lot of stress. This is going on here, so, and it's something that I feel very uncomfortable knowing that they're working under such stressful conditions, and that Sodexo is notorious for treating their workers unfairly and justly. And I think that it should be addressed immediately because it's been going on for years.
I'm not sure what you would suggest that that is the university's role to do about it. At this point in time, there is no active dispute, and basically what you're saying to me is that a private company has some employees who are not happy with their work situation, and I don't know that we have a role in that. I mean, we may not like it, but I'm not sure what our role would be in it. Maybe Vice President
If I could just add, there was a comment made about Sodexo being non-union. Sodexo is a union shop here at the university. Employees are recognized. There is a bargaining unit. So I would say if those employees have concerns, they should go to their bargaining unit for assistance.
You can do it first if you like.
It was actually in direct relation to that. Regardless of whether those grievances are going on, I believe there still has a valid contract until 2013 that we paid for the services. Now the services need to be rendered. Is it correct?
Yes, our relationship with Sodexo is contractual. that means that they are bound to do certain things, and we are bound to do certain things by the terms of that contract. Now, obviously, if they were having the kinds of disputes that disrupted the ability of our students to be able to get the services that we pay for, that would not be acceptable to us in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not aware of that. Any company always has labor disputes, employment disputes. I mean, it is the way of the world. There isn't a company in the world that doesn't have employees who are bringing grievances or whatever. And we never know what are the rights or wrongs of it until you investigate each individual case. But I don't think, and again, Vice President Pennington knows more about this than I do, but I am not aware that we have been aware of any unusual problem.
No, there have been a couple of cases where certain employees have had difficulties with their supervisors. Those were handled through HR, the human resources of Sodexo, and they've been resolved to the satisfaction of the employees, as far as we've been told.
Okay, this directly leads into some more questions, because Sodexo is a privatized company. And our questions for you are, it seems like there's been a lot of privatization going around the campus. There's the bookstore, parking, the Heights, and Sodexo. And our question is, why is this happening, and how does it benefit the university?
Most universities have privatized the bookstore, parking, food service, these, what I called earlier, auxiliary services. I'm not saying I agree, I'm just saying in quotation, auxiliary services, are privatized because private companies who do this as a business can often do the service more efficiently and less expensively than the university. Because the university is not a bookstore purveyor or a restaurateur or a parking provider. And while we do these things from time to time, it really is in many ways a distraction from our core business, which is providing education and services to students. And so a lot of institutions have found that it is much preferable to hire a company whose business it is and let them provide that service. In regard to the Heights, it was, we would not have had those 2,000 beds had we not done it through the provisions of the New Jersey Economic Stimulus Act, which enabled us to do a public-private partnership, in effect, to privatize it. And the reason is that all of the money, all the financing to build that did not have to be paid by the state, did not have to be paid by the university. It was all financed, constructed, built by a private company, which meant that we could do it. Otherwise, I mean, it was a $211 million project. We could not have spent that money on providing that. So now, we didn't have to spend the money. The facilities are there, and in case you haven't noticed, full. 2,000 students voted yes to live there, and it enabled us to do it, and it enabled us to do it very fast, 14 months. So that was the reason.
I have a question about this classification of certain services as auxiliary. You said that parking was an auxiliary service, and you also said that bookstore was considered to be an auxiliary service. And you're right that people don't come to Montclair to park, but for a lot of people who are commuters and could not afford to live on campus, it is being able to park on campus is a necessary prerequisite to their education. So even though that is not the actual goal of going to Montclair, it is necessary in achieving that goal. Same thing with a bookstore. Everyone has to buy textbooks and comes to Montclair.
Which is why we provide the service.
Right, but they're classified as auxiliary and not as core services.
That's right, because it has to do with the intricacies of higher education budgeting, but that is how higher education budgets generally work, and that's how the federal government collects information about higher education budgets. They talk about instructional services, instructional services, and student services, and then they talk about auxiliary services. And so everything is kind of divided up that way in the higher education universe. That's not just Montclair State, it's just the universe, how the universe works.
the use of their car or whatever, or they don't have one. Public transportation, there is not enough being done for students who have to take public transportation or who could take public transportation. And I believe that if this is something that we should discuss further, since we do have limited time, but there's not enough time for commuters who do not drive.
We have tried very hard to build up our resources for non-driving commuters. We had built a second train station on the campus. We have 2 train stations. We have New Jersey Transit and Camp Bus lines that stop on the campus. We have negotiated a discount rate with NJ Transit for students. We run the shuttle bus to pick students up at the train. And if there are more things that you think we could do that would encourage students to use mass transit, or that would make it better for them to use mass transit, I would be very interested, and Vice President Pennington would be very interested in receiving any ideas that you have. Because this would be a very good thing to achieve, in my opinion.
I do know we have to move on, but I want to touch on the heights. Is that okay? Like the next question on the heights. We do have, it's 8 o'clock. I don't know what time you want to.
I think if you feel strongly, excuse me, I think if you feel strongly about the heights, you should touch on it.
I do have a question about heights. I do understand that, the prime time is a nonprofit organization, or however it was paid for. I'm not exactly sure. I feel as though, I do understand the need to bring more students on campus and to expand campus and to make, us larger. But when the heights opened, I feel like the rest of the students were forgotten about. Our Wi-Fi was out for, I don't even know, I had to buy an Ethernet cord. I just felt like we were kind of neglected in a way, and all of the students in the heights were fine. They had all their services met, but we didn't.
No, they lost their Wi-Fi too, and the reason the Wi-Fi went down was when we went with the Wi-Fi, the hardware, the switches, a little complicated, and I'm not an expert in this field, but the switches that we got, that we were advised by the consultant, by the vendors to get, were simply not big enough to handle the exponential traffic. Nobody estimated how much more traffic would be flowing over those switches. And so that has now been corrected, the situation's been corrected, there is a temporary fix in place now, and there will be within another week or 2 a permanent fix that will change the switches to much larger ones that will now be able to hold all of the traffic. So it was just something, it was growing pains as we moved to a Wi-Fi campus, and these growing pains are gonna happen in this live and learn, technology changes every minute kind of world that we're in. But I don't think we forgot the rest of the students. There was a lot of brouhaha about the heights. Obviously, it's such a big project, a new project. Every time we do something new, there's a lot of brouhaha. But honestly, we love the students who live in the Village and Sinatra and Hawks Crossing just as much as we love the students in the Heights. And your needs are as much on our mind as theirs. So if there are issues, again, there are places to go with them. And I hope that you will not wait and bring them early, before they start bothering.
Lisa?
I'm sure everyone is aware of this $125,000 retention bonus that